by grabbing some awesome gear from ADSTs.com, your go-to spot for the best nostalgic t-shirts from your favorite movies, TV shows, and pop culture classics. Use promo code UBTV at checkout to save on your order and support unfinished business television. While you're at it, relive the classics or the memories. Shop now at ADSTs.com with code UBTV.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another new episode of the Cinematic Clique. So this week, we're adding to the burn book, which is not necessarily a good or a bad thing, Masters of the Universe from this year, 2026. But first, let me actually introduce myself. I am Jeff Galashaw of Unfinished Business Productions. Unfinished B1 for all of you social media seekers out there. And with me, as always, is my co-host, Andre Joseph of AJ Epics Productions.
Good journey, my friends.
And Yamil Rosario.
My name changes every episode.
I know. I you have so many identities, so it's hard to come up with. Just like I wish this movie had more than one identity, or stuck to one. But we're talking about Masters of the Universe. For you guys of a certain age might remember this as He-Man going up against Skeletor in the battle for Eternia. And we had the supporting characters, Man-at-Arms Duncan. We had his daughter Teela. We had the sorceress. We had Cringer, who then would become Battle Cat. Then we have Orko, of course. And he had a sister, She-Ra, but she's not in this film. We'll talk about her when her movie comes out. And
Right.
And we were going up against his uncle, Skeletor. You got to go way back in the archives for that one. And his various villains, whoever they could think of a good nickname for a toy at the time. So we had Lockjaw, we had Moss Man, none really major villains, but it was like, hey, I got an idea for a toy. Okay, he'll be this week's new henchman. So this film, and of course, that set all young boys' heart aflutter for goth chicks, Evelyn. Now, of course, for fans of this, knows there was a 1987 movie based on this cartoon starring Dolph Lundgren, a young Courtney Cox, and Franklin
Jella
as Skeletor. And it was originally planned as a mid-budget sized film, but the budget kept getting lower as it went along. So it's just basically He-Man in modern day America. Like, ooh, what are these fancy inventions? I liked the film as a kid. For obvious reasons, it wasn't as great as the cartoon. But now we've got Masters of the Universe, which is more inclined with probably what we wanted in 1987. Where we have Prince Adam is sent to Earth to keep Eternia safe with the sword. I don't remember what the sword is called. But basically he grows up and he has this deep sense of purpose that he's not fulfilling, and he's on the search for the sword. And finally, once he finds it, it opens up a signal, and now he's being hunted down and saved by Teela. And now he must come back to Eternia and take his rightful place against the battle against Skeletor, played by Jared Leto. It's barely recognizable because they don't even use his voice.
Right.
Okay, I'll just give my initial thoughts before I get to notes or any other subject. I dug the film for the first half. Then we got go to Eternia, and then the film starts slowly going down for me. Because at first, it starts off as almost like a culture comedy. Like, oh, this is him, modern day. He's lost his way, blah, blah, blah. And then we get into the more fantasy elements of the story, which should work, but to me were just so problematic. I think it was because, for me, again, I'm not saying this is anybody else's fault. I miss when films, you could tell it was a set and it felt real. This film feels like it was filmed in front of a green screen. So nothing felt permanent. Nothing felt really real. And I know it's a fantasy movie, but there should be some kind of identifiable element to it for not only just me, for the audience, so that this doesn't feel more like a video game or a CGI movie. And I felt like that throughout the film, so much so that after a while, I didn't care what happened. I just wanted to end. And this is a movie that's over 2 hours.
Right.
So I felt like this film definitely needed to be edited down. But unfortunately, the only part I could think that would be cut is the one part of the movie I liked, which was that him in the real world. So it's sort of like it's this weird mixture. But I would say for fans of the series, I can see if you like it. And, I was a big He-Man fan, but it just didn't work for me. So I have to say I would not recommend this film personally.
Oh,
Um, Andre, what did you feel about the film? Mm.
Okay, so I'm not the biggest He-Man fan in the world growing up. My cousin was more into it than I was. He had the toys, he had the Castle Grayskull playset. But I watched the cartoon. I'd seen the movie with Dolph Lundgren many times. I believe I even saw it in the theater as a kid with my parents.
Mm.
So I had like an appreciation for He-Man. I can't say that I was like the biggest fan in the world. But like I always felt because the canon movie had so many problems that it was worthy of rebooting as a big theatrical film.
mm,
And what worried me early on was the real world setting and Jared Leto playing Skeletor when there were like so many other choices they could have gotten. But now going into the movie, I thought that I was entertained overall because I felt like Travis Knight really made the movie from a place of love. He was able to inject as many of the characters as possible, all the nods to the cartoon, even the nods to the original movie, having Dolph Lundgren's cameo, which, as silly as it was kind of fun to see. And I think that it really does feel like they were trying to do something of quality. And I know you're saying like, okay, it was overdone to CGI. And yes, there were definitely times where it felt like it was a big Marvel film. Just in style and tone and everything else. But I think that everybody puts their best effort. They have this Idris Elba especially looks like he's having fun with this movie. And I'm
mhm.
glad that Jared Leto, you never see his face because they could have showed the origin story of Skeletor with him in the blue skin. And no, like this was basically Hugo Weaving as the Red Skull. It could have been anybody, and you would forget that it was Jared Leto. Period. And the real world stuff was funny at points. The thing with the roommate, he's working in HR. He's like, oh, I got to be a team player, this and that. And I think that may be the one downside movie, not the real world stuff, but the fact that they were trying to do the Barbie thing where Barbie was dealing with what you do when you take this perfect doll and put it in the real world where it starts to have real world female issues. And here they try to do the same thing with a man, try to oversensitize the idea of somebody with big muscles and very macho, the way we're used to seeing him in the cartoon. But now we have to make him like, we have to work like a team. We have to not kill people. We have to, collaborate and make peace and compromise. And yeah, I mean, as a guy grew up in that period, I don't want to see that type of shit, but I understand why they had to do it.
Uh,
Even that aside, I thought it was a fine movie and I would have wanted to have a franchise. I think there's still a chance. I mean, really, Amazon made this more for making their bucks in streaming, not in the theater. And yeah, I mean, it came from a place of love. That's the way that I see it. And I recommend it. I don't highly recommend it, but I think it was fine. If you're a fan, you're gonna love it. But I also see the problem, and it's going to be a problem for any other 80s property from a cartoon or a toy line. We're aging out, and they're trying to make this stuff for Gen Z. Gen Z doesn't give a shit about He-Man.
amen.
So, what did you think of it?
I personally enjoyed the movie. I thought it was entertaining. all of that stuff. As a business, I wouldn't have started with He-Man. I would have started with She-Ra.
Mm.
It's deeply connected to that our age, and we have kids now. So we would pay to go see this movie. It could have started like the franchise with a lot more money if they would have thought about less about Gen Z and more about who's gonna see the movie. Who gives a shit? You know? Power moms, would have paid to take all their kids to see Shira. But as for the movie, I think it's fucking awesome. The nostalgia really hit. I thought Jared Leto really played into the, I don't know, the memes.
Yeah.
Of now, I think that was more for Gen Z to kind of feel included, but I don't know. That choice could have been more. I didn't honestly, guys. I didn't even know it was him until like the third time, and it's so his name because I've seen a few times. I've tried to show it to my son, but nothing.
Well, the thing with this movie I found insulting was when it was being made, they're like, oh, the biggest star in it is Jared Leto. And I'm just like, if I'm Idris Elba, I'm like, fuck you.
Yeah.
It's- and it's like you paid Jared Leto $12 million for this film, and we don't even know it's him. And when they were promoting it, for obvious reasons, he wasn't on the publicity tour. No
Why are the studio
interviews.
so high on him?
Because I guess they really thought Tron 2 or Tron 3 was going to be such a huge hit. He's got something on somebody. That's why they haven't touched him yet.
Bryan Singer.
Maybe. I'm surprised Bryan Singer didn't make this. But anyway, and not to mention, since Jared Leto always gets in the method, what would have been his method on the set of this?
Well, they've shown behind the scenes stuff recently, and he had blood on his face the whole time.
Never mind. I'm not going to go there. It's a family show.
Where did this blood come from?
It's my other thing watching this movie. I'm just like, I don't even mind whoever they casted as Adam He-Man. And I like that they kind of lean into how homoerotic half these names are. Like, or simple the names are Lockjaw, Fisto. It's like, yeah. I said it felt like a Netflix movie. There's no emotional hold except for nostalgia here. Like they don't even attempt. At least the Odyssey tried to get an emotional thing out of you. This one was just like, you like He-Man, you like movie. End of story. I thought I said that He-Man at an early age helped a lot of us get into the knights and sorcery and sandals and swords types of movies, and maybe that's what I was more expecting here, instead of a supernatural battle. Allison Brie as Evelyn could have been sexier and had more to do.
Yeah, there wasn't enough Evil Lynn in this movie.
Agree.
It started a lot of us fascination with bad girls. Her and the sorcerers.
Goth girls.
I enjoyed Camila Mendez and why Jared Leto, yeah, and yeah, I felt like the third act became very basic. It's like okay, it's, Happy Orca was represented eventually.
Yeah, in the last half. Even my friend was like, what the hell? You have to wait till the end?
Exactly. I'm like, there's no fucking Orco. At least there's no weird troll wizard man.
I like Billy Barty.
I like Billy Barty, but that character was, totally made up. As you guys said, my thing is, who is this for? You know, is
Well,
it
I
for
can tell you,
Millennium?
Jeff, when I saw the movie, it was very empty and it was just mostly grown adults.
Exactly, because I'm like,
Right.
this is supposed to be made for kids, but it only appeals to the fans of it. And I mean, I don't know, because I never watched the Kevin Smith He-Man cartoon. Did that turn a lot of people off of it?
I think that played a big part in it because that's another thing too, is the fact that Turtles has had so many turnarounds with reboots that every time they do a new movie, you're going to get a new generation of kids to come out. With He-Man, well, you had that one in the 90s that nobody saw. There was the one that actually was pretty good. It was on Cartoon Network. That didn't last. Then you had the Netflix one, which turned everybody off because they killed him in the first episode. So they never really grew an audience. It was just always going back to our generation. And when I was in the theater, they were selling all the concessions. This was at a Regal theater. So they didn't have the sword that you drink out of. I don't know how you put that anywhere. But it was mostly adults buying any merchandise that was there. And we got free posters. So that was nice.
I would have preferred a movie to opposed to a different movie, but
I'm telling you, Thundercats, I'm buying that sword if they do it.
My thing, well, one of the reasons why I feel like the studio would never do Yumi's idea with She-Ra is because then you'd get all the fanboys who keep complaining about, why is it always got to be woke? Why is it always got to be women coming out of the fucking woodwork? I'm like, I agree. I don't think Supergirl should have been the next movie after Superman, but they even complained about that. It's like, literally, this is a character who has a historic reign in the DC universe, and you're complaining about it being woke.
And there's no problem introducing Supergirl. It's that you had to make a very mid movie out of it that sucked.
I feel like that's what the studios keep doing. They micromanage every male superhero, but when it comes to the female superhero, they're like, oh, do what you want. Then when it bombs, it's like, well, that's disappointing, but whatever. Well, at least we don't have to make another one.
I would have started with She-Ra merely as a business move, and they would have had more budget for He-Man. So, that would have been just a choice and that perspective, because moms are buying the tickets. They're gonna go. They're gonna take their kids. They're gonna take their girls to go see She-Ra. But that was merely on a business point. I don't think it was that smart. Evelyn, yeah, I needed more.
Yeah.
They missed the intricacy of the character. Yeah, she's so powerful but subservient to Skeletor, whatever. I thought as a but yeah, I love this movie. I enjoyed the nostalgia. I wanted I wanted more. Oh, how can I forget the tiger's name?
Cringer.
Yeah, Cringer.
Yeah, I would like more of that, but I need to show it to Ronan. I want to see what he thinks.
Okay.
Because I don't know if they even cater to, little kids. Yeah.
It did, between Cringer and just the amount of characters they threw in. I mean, really, this goes back to the issue of Evelyn not having a lot to do. It seemed like they were trying to compress as much time to sell the action figures. That's what it seemed like. Every scene was a commercial to be like, hey, we got Ram Man, we got Fisto, we got the Moss Man. Go buy the toys now at Target. I'm not trying to plug Target. We have our Super 7 deal, but still, that's how they were approaching it. Barbie didn't feel like a commercial. That really felt like, yeah, go out and buy the dolls, but we have a good story here that you should see.
That's why I would have started with that. Then you could, never mind.
Right now they're selling the Skeletor in the gym clothes, and that's selling on Mattel's website.
Nice.
Well, and since it didn't matter who played Skeletor, I would have nominated Mark Anthony to play because he looks so much like him in real life.
I wanted Nicolas
Oh,
Cage.
shit.
And at least we would have got a theme song from him.
If not Nicolas Cage, Bill Hader.
So I'm just like,
I'm going with Nicolas Cage. That's awesome, Andre. Yeah.
I don't care. I'm going with my original pick, Mark Anthony. And we can open it up. Now we have Camila Mendes and Mark Anthony, two Latin superstars. So we can flood the international market.
We know Mark Anthony knows how to act. And it's a good choice.
Yeah, he does. He
It's a
usually
good
gets his ass
choice.
kicked, but well, he's the villain here, so he's
Bill
supposed to.
Dante.
And maybe we'll get a J-Lo cameo. You know, like, hey, she's the queen of cameos this year.
Fuck it.
she's like, by the end of the year, everybody will forget, or who has already forgotten, Kiss of the Spider Woman, and they'll be like, "But did you see her in Masters of the Universe?"
I forgot about that.
Yeah. I don't think many people even know about that. So she needs all the help she can get. Well, that is 2 recommendations for this film and 1 non-recommendation because I'm just gloomy. So the subject we are going to talk about, movie news, that we will talk about this week, David Ellison, who I guess if you watch the show, I hope you know movie news, but David Ellison and his father are billionaires, more his father than him. They are trying to buy not Time Warner, but basically they're trying to buy Warner Brothers, and they already own Paramount. So they will be this super studio and basically trying to monopolize media because they are friends of Trump, and they'd own CNN, one of the few last bastions of hope as far as news goes. And now that we're waiting for this deal to be approved, and it seems like it's going against being judged by others. But now I feel like David Ellison is kind of on this, like he's running for political office because he's saying, like, first of all, well, if this isn't approved by October 1st, we're moving out of California. And it's just like, so you're willing to undo a well-known history, an epicenter of the industry, because you want to force a decision date. How is that just? And then the second thing is now he's, I guess, as a PR move, whereas Variety's already on his side, he's allegedly, he's saying that, oh, well, I promise movie theaters that every movie we make will go through a 30-day window first before ever even thinking or touching streaming. And I feel like it feels like a Trump campaign promise. Something he said then, but then when it comes time to actually do it, oh, we've got 50 million other things. So for all of you who saw Good Burger 2, supposedly you'll be able to see it in theaters first. And I've been against this deal from the beginning, but unfortunately the powers that be and money talks and bullshit. Well, money talks, bullshit walks. But I don't know. How are you guys feeling about this deal?
Based on everything I'm reading, because obviously we have the states suing to block the merger, he's kind of in a rock and a hard place because let's say the deal doesn't go through, it's going to do a lot of damage to his pocket and certainly to Zaslav with what he was supposed to be getting out of the deal. Looks like he's not going to get much. Yeah, he's a scumbag. And if it does go through, I don't think it's a good thing. I mean, that's the worst case scenario, I think, on all fronts, because he gets CNN, he turns that into CBS, and we know what's going on with CBS News these days. And I don't buy his commitment to theatrical, no matter how hard he may make these big promises to the DGA, to the WGA. The fact is, if you look at what happened when Disney bought Fox, and listen, I was all for it because I wanted the X-Men and 2004 rights to go back to Marvel, but look what it did to the movie studio, where they barely put anything out into the theaters other than an IP like Alien, Predator, and maybe like a prestige film like Complete Unknown. Everything else goes straight to streaming, like that And It Rocks the Cradle remake, shit like that. So
Well, that's where it belonged.
yeah, but still, even for films that are original, that's where they're going. So I feel that this deal, they're already making so many bat crazy decisions, or like, oh, we're gonna do Rush Hour 4 that nobody cares about, nobody's screaming for. You got Mel Gibson saying they're still gonna do Lethal Weapon 5, even though Danny Glover just came out and said he's got Alzheimer's. Like, we really think you want that shit? I mean, the Ellisons are pretty much, they're in the bag with Trump, they're in the bag with the Republicans. They just want whatever happens with the movies and stuff, that's one thing. We're gonna have to deal with some stuff that's gonna be for us, some shit that's gonna be more mainstream, and some things that are gonna be for that group. But I worry more so about what they're gonna do to the news networks and just try to turn this into state propaganda bullshit.
And let's not forget that Megan Ellison is the head of A24, the supposedly safe indie studio.
And I think it's going to get to that point. I'm going to be perfectly honest with all these type of mergers. I think the legacy studios are going to implode. Simple as that. Disney is spending God knows how much money on all these films, losing money, and they're still rewarding failure. Universal's just relying on blockbusters, and Sony, they have no streaming platform, so they seem to be okay. But if Spider-Man is your only bread and butter, how long is that going to stick? So I think as they start to collapse, you're going to start to see not even the A24s and the Neon survive, because they're going to have their bubbles too, especially A24. I think it's going to end up being the rise of Netflix and whatever alternatives there are beyond that, Amazon, because they're just going to adapt to the streaming business. The whole fight for theatrical, it's going to be a losing battle, I think.
It'll be Skynet, basically.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that was, sorry to end the show on such a downer, but then again, you are watching a review of Masters of the Universe.
Wow.
At least to me, it was a downer. So that ends, unfortunately, this episode as we add Masters of the Universe to the burn book for me, and not getting a nice write up, but from my co-hosts, they seem to like it. So I will tell you, have you seen, because you need something as a palate cleanser after this movie, have you seen, oh geez, have you seen Girls Like Girls? If not, why not? I'm not gonna say it's fucking awesome, but it's watchable. It's guys, what movies would you recommend to the people? And
have you seen The Paper? If not, why not? Because it's fucking awesome.
Okay, Ron Howard over there. Yumi, what movie would you recommend to the people that's not The Fall?
Are you gonna use that every time?
Yes.
Look, I have a deep love for Tarsem Singh. I love his visuals. Like, don't come for me, bro. So since you want to be a hater, I would recommend another Tarzan movie. But still, watch it. Give Jerry Lowe an opportunity. But Vincent D'Onofrio, that's the real star. Go watch it.
Okay. No mention of Vince Vaughn in there. But,
He was such a really secondary character.
What
It
are they
was
trying to make him a
about
sex symbol?
which one?
exactly
Vaughn.
what the fuck.
I was like, they were trying to make Vincent D'Onofrio a sex symbol? Go ahead, Vinny D. He's like, yeah, I'm Pyle, but my friends call me Kyle. That would have been his like pickup line. I don't know where
But when he
Kyle
plays the
comes
Kingpin, there's so much ground to cover.
is. I'd be like, he's like, underneath this makeup for Men in Black, I'm quite sexy. Hey, he got Greta Scacchi at one point.
He did, yeah.
And he looks like a young, or in his younger days, he looked like a young Orson Welles, and Orson Welles was quite the player back in the day. And I guess none of us know Orson Welles' history other than me. So anyway, at least it was not the fall that you recommended, but another Parsem Singh movie. And so that is our latest additions to the Burn book. Will you be next, or what will be next? We'll see. And for this week, we bid you adieu.